What's up, y'all? So, got me, Mr. Uber, in the evenings. In the daytime, I'm Mr. BlackFolkHotspots.com. Basically, what Black Folk Hotspots is it's a network for black business owners. We have over 2,200 black business owners that we connect with and help them gain more exposure on the internet, and provide, a networking opportunity. Anyway, but that's not why I'm doing this video. Obviously, I'm in Northwest Indiana. I'm going through Hobart. It has slowed down a little bit. I had a couple rides from Maryville to Munster or whatever. But anyway, here's the deal. While you guys were sleeping, because I like to keep it 100, and I'm a news junkie, I'm a sports junkie, I'm a business junkie. So some of the great conversations I had, but one of the things that has been irking me lately is with Uber I guess it's not a bad thing. It's more of a, oh shit, I don't need to have that on. But anyway, I like to listen on Sirius Radio. I like to listen to, I got the news, or I go from the radio, go to comedy, I flip flop. But been watching, I like to get my MSNBC fix.
Senator Warren,
so I'm just gonna let y'all listen to this.
Senator Booker is
Senator Warren,
come, please stay with us.
If you're not paying attention to what Wells Fargo is doing or has done since 2010, their CEO basically increased their quota for their low-level employees like the tellers and the community bankers and whatnot, so that now the average customer of a bank has 3 different accounts with a customer. They may have checking, savings, credit card, or checking, savings, and maybe a CD or something like that. Certificate of deposit. It's not something that is that I recommend financially for any, not a CD. Certificate of depreciation is what I call it. But anyway, so in his 2010, I guess, address to the board of directors and the investors or whatever, he wanted to increase their average accounts to 8. Why? Because 8 sounded great. But anyway, so while he put these quotas on these employees, in order for them to make this happen, they had to create bogus accounts for their customers so that they can go to the investors and say, look how great we are, the biggest bank in the country, and we have all these extra accounts. But I'm gonna let you guys listen to this broadcast on MSNBC, on Sirius. It's also on your cable channels too, with my girl Rachel Maddow, who I like. I think she's like one of the smartest women in the world.
We're involved in possible serious violations of federal laws. Yeah, if you can explain it for the Clinton thing, how about the financial crisis that almost destroyed the world? No word back yet from the FBI, we're told. But then today, the CEO of the world's most valuable bank, he was treated to Senator Warren's tender ministrations at the U.S. Senate as well.
This just isn't right. A cashier who steals a handful of 20s is held accountable, but Wall Street executives who almost never hold themselves accountable, not now and not in 2008 when they crushed the worldwide economy. The only way that Wall Street will change is if executives face jail time when they preside over massive frauds.
Joining us now for the interview is Senator Elizabeth Warren of Massachusetts. Senator Warren, thank you very much for making time to talk to us tonight. Really appreciate you being here. Thank you very much for having me. So your questioning of the Wells Fargo CEO was very heated today, I think is the right word. Why did you decide to roast him over that spit the way you did today at that hearing?
Well, why not? I mean, look, here is a guy who says, I'm accountable. And then his notion of accountability is he keeps his job. He keeps the millions of dollars in bonuses that he made while this scam goes on. He keeps all the money from his stock improving because of the scam that was going on. And then blames the scam on more than 5,000 low-level employees and says, oh, he didn't know anything about it. You know, there just comes a point when you have to say, enough. You can't keep doing this. Remember, right at the heart of the 2008 crisis was, in a sense, exactly the same thing. It was that giant financial institutions, not community banks, not credit unions, giant financial institutions, figured out that they could make buckets of money by cheating their own customers. Now, the lead up to 2008 was far more elaborate and had lots of people in it and lots of different kinds of financial instruments. But at its heart, that's what it was all about. It was about those mortgages, about those subprime mortgages that tricked people, that trapped people, that fooled people. So what happens? It's 8 years later, and Wall Street says, no, we've changed. And then it comes out that Wells Fargo, the biggest bank in the world, has been out there doing something called cross-selling. And what it really means is they squeeze their employees into their employees' made up checking accounts and credit card accounts, squeeze them that hard. Why? So they could then go right back to Wall Street and keep pumping their numbers and saying our stock is worth more and more and more. Our company is worth more and more and more because look at all these accounts we've got. You know, there's got to come a time when you say to these CEOs, no, not only no, but you are going to be held personally responsible for this. As long as these guys can get rich and waltz out the door, nothing on Wall Street is going to change.
That personal accountability issue is something that Wall Street is not used to hearing anything other than rhetoric about. They're not used to hearing anything pointed and possible about that prospect. But you raised this as well in your letter to the FBI last week and to the Department of Justice Inspector General, saying, listen, if you're willing to go public and explain your reasoning and your rationale for this Hillary Clinton email scandal, what you thought of all the evidence and why you didn't recommend charges in that case, please do so also for these 9 bankers who were recommended for possible prosecution because of the financial crisis. Why did you decide to go to the FBI about that now? And do you actually think they'll release any of that information?
So let's talk about the now. You remember that after the crisis, Congress set up something called the Financial Crisis Inquiry Commission. Mm-hmm. And their job was to go out and to hold hearings and to look at books and records and to get people in and to figure out what went wrong in the crisis. It was bipartisan, and boy, did they get out and work. I mean, they took tons of information in. And then they wrote this great big report, this giant report, and they boxed up all the rest of their papers and records and so on and sent them over to the archives, as they were required to do by law, where they were sealed for 5 years. So, okay, that sounds fine. A few months ago, they became unsealed because it had been 5 years. So my staffers go over and get the boxes out and start digging through them. And it turns out that the Financial Crisis Inquiry Commission had recommended, based on the data they had seen, specific people who should be investigated as having caused the financial crisis and specific financial institutions. So they were referred to the Justice Department. So this isn't like just vaguely, why do you hold somebody accountable? They sent over names, and they did it based on all of the evidence and data that they had collected. So what happened? What happened? And the answer is basically nothing. So I sent 2 letters last week. One was I sent it directly to the Inspector General of the Department of Justice, and I said, could you please find out what happened to those criminal referrals and, just kind of let the rest of us know. But the second was to the director of the FBI, because I listened really closely when he got up and talked about Hillary Clinton, and he had said, the FBI's general policy is if we don't issue an indictment, we don't say anything about it. I understand that. But he said, in effect, there's a new standard, and the new standard is when there is, I believe his words were, intense public interest. When there is intense public interest, then we're going to release everything we've got. We're going to go ahead and give you all of the investigative reports and what all happened. I'm going to stand up and do a big press conference, he said, and then he goes over to Capitol Hill and testifies all about it. Okay, if that's the new standard, I believe there is intense public interest in the people and institutions that caused the 2008 financial crisis, that cost millions of people their homes, millions of people their jobs, millions of people their retirement accounts. The Dallas Fed estimates cost this economy $14 trillion. That kind of sounds like intense public interest to me. So I asked him to apply his new standard for the intense public interest cases and release the same kind of information he released in the case of Hillary Clinton and her emails.
You haven't heard back from him, have you?
Not so far.
We called the FBI and the Department of Justice and asked if and when they're planning on writing back, and they wouldn't tell us either. Senator, do you have a plane to catch, or do you mind holding just for one more second so I can ask you a thing?
I can hold.
Thank you very much. Senator Elizabeth Warren will be back with us in just a moment. Thanks.
This fall, experience the...
I'll be back for the rest of it when she comes back. But that's deep, huh? I'm telling y'all, man. You gotta pay attention. If I was you, I don't have a bank account with Wells. I got my one black, buy black, and then I got a credit union account. But anyway, I'm gonna pause it till they come back.
Thank you.
All right, it's back.
For that introduction, and hello, Ohio. It is good to be here.
Senator Elizabeth Warren campaigning this weekend in Ohio for Ted Strickland and his Senate race against Rob Portman in that state. Senator, thanks for sticking with us. I really appreciate it. I talked at the top of the show a little bit about how the electoral projections for the Senate right now, some of them including the New York Times and the Washington Post, are both saying that actually the Republicans are more likely than the Democrats to be controlling the Senate next year. Based on polling right now, we've also seen Hillary Clinton's lead over Donald Trump extent, both in national polls and swing state polls. What is, having been to all these states, campaigning for all these Democratic senators, do you have a diagnosis for why that might be happening right now? Do you have a proposed cure for how to fix it?
Look, my job is not to diagnose what's gone wrong. My job is to get up there and fight back, because that's what we have to do. I mean, let me try just 2 words for you. Supreme Court. Even if Hillary Clinton gets elected, if we can't get a Democratic Senate, then we're going to have trouble confirming someone to the Supreme Court. She's going to have trouble being able to field a team, having someone at the Department of Justice who actually cares about accountability, having someone at the Department of Labor, having people at the Environmental Protection Agency. If Hillary Clinton has to step into the White House on the first day in opposition to a Congress that is controlled in both houses by Republicans, then she really will have her back against the wall. So my view on this is, number one is to take the White House, to hang on to it with Hillary Clinton, but right behind that, we have got to take back control of the United States Senate. The Supreme Court depends on it, and actually just getting out there and doing the basic work of government depends on it.
Senator Elizabeth Warren, I do appreciate you sticking with me and for giving us this much time tonight. It's nice to see you. Thank you.
Gotta vote those down tickets, y'all.
Much more ahead tonight. Do please stay with us.
Gotta vote it. Anyway, y'all, if you're thinking about driving for Uber right now, there's a special running, get $200 bonus. Get a $200 bonus. Matter of fact, we both get a little bonus. So you get a bonus, I get a bonus. So use the link in the description below, and let's Uber on. Take these people home from the bars to work. Let's keep the economy going. Let's do some transfer of wealth. Anyway, y'all, what do you think about Senator Elizabeth Warren? Is she a attack dog or what? But anyway, so check out who she's supporting, and maybe you want to go out and vote on November 8th. Also, check out who Bernie Sanders is supporting for those down tickets in the communities. Let's get these people elected. Peace out, y'all.